Every year growing up, I would always circle Thanksgiving on my calendar. I'm a big food guy. I went to culinary school. I love Thanksgiving because of the food. But what's one thing that I love more than that? That's football. So football on Thanksgiving means a whole lot to me, means a whole lot to my family, where we get to sit down, be together as a family, eat great food, and watch football. I hope that all you guys get to do that this year. And from all of us at the Snap Count Show, happy Thanksgiving. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Snap Count Show, where I'm your host, Matthew Raridan. Please bear with me today as I have lost my voice, but I'm still here and ready to rock. And with me today, as always, is none other than David Street,
Yo.
Ed Smith,
Go Pack Go!
and Thaddeus Lloyd.
Hello.
Once again, happy Thanksgiving, gobble gobble. It is Turkey Day and it is football day, and it wouldn't be a football show without us talking about football. So, guys, let's get straight to it. Let's go ahead and start with maybe an interesting Thanksgiving football fact. I'll go ahead and start with mine here. And this is for the audience. Feel free to answer in the comments. But my question to you is, who was the first recipient of the infamous John Madden turkey leg? If you watch football on Thanksgiving, you know after the game, they give out the turkey leg to the most valuable player that game. And if you did not get that answer yet, the answer is none other than Ed Smith's very own Reggie White. So that is a very fun fact that I have. Ed, actually, let's go with Thaddeus. Thaddeus, what is your fun fact?
There have been a lot of Thanksgiving games. The Thanksgiving game has been going on since the 30s, 1940s, at the earliest stages. But it wasn't until 2006 where we've had the triple header games. Now, there has been only one team in the NFL who has not played on Thanksgiving. And that would be one of the newer expansion teams, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars have never played a Thanksgiving game. And then on top of that, you've only have four other teams who've only played the game once, which would be the other expansion team from the same era, the Carolina Panthers. The Bengals have only played once, and the Buccaneers have only played once as well. So that there's a lot of, with TV blackouts, local stations, there's a lot of games which aren't played in certain areas, and that's one of the reasons why the Jags have never played a Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, well, the NFL hates them too, so that's interesting. That is. Ed, did you want to piggyback off that?
Well, send the Jaguars over to London because they love playing over there. That's what that's about. Well, to piggyback on Thaddeus's fun fact, there is only 3 teams total that have not played what I would consider a traditional Thanksgiving Day game, which is playing either the Detroit Lions or the Dallas Cowboys. And Thaddeus just gave you one of them. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars. He mentioned another team in there, but I will say that one for last. The second one that has not played a traditional Thanksgiving Day game has played some of these night games, but not that traditional time slot, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. Now, as the Cleveland Browns, back in 1991, they played in the Thanksgiving Day game, but the NFL treats the Baltimore Ravens like a new franchise when they moved over. So we consider that as a franchise that has never played that traditional Thanksgiving Day game. Now, the third team that has not played a traditional Thanksgiving Day game is none other than the Cincinnati Bengals. What a coincidence. We have both of those teams playing this week, and we'll get to that here in a little bit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We will definitely get to that here in a bit, but those are definitely some fun facts. Ed, appreciate that. David, you have an interesting Thanksgiving football day fact for us?
Yeah, so my fun fact pertains to Thanksgiving uh, player records, and that is the record for the most touchdown career touchdown passes on Thanksgiving is actually held by two players, and it's a tie between uh, former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo and former Lions quarterback, now current Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. And when you hear those names, it's not surprising at all because, as we've established, two of the main teams for Thanksgiving are the Lions and the Cowboys. And for Tony Romo, it's especially not surprising because, you know, for all the criticisms that Tony Romo got throughout his career, one thing that was undeniable is that he was utterly dominant in the month of November, especially at home. I think I saw a stat that his career home record in November was 15-1 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and these are just very few of the fun facts that there are in Thanksgiving football. I urge you to look into it because your mind will be blown. Next topic that I want to talk about here on the show is this year in the NFL seems to have been kind of so far an anomaly. It's very weird when you look at really in depth of maybe some of the records that are at place right now in the division or even statistic records right now. So I want to play a little game called What Are the Chances? Okay. So as you look at the current stats in the NFL, Drake May, yes, you hear that right. Drake May is leading the NFL in passing yards. What are the chances Drake May finishes the season number one in passing yards? Ed?
I'm going to put that at below 30% because you've got some major pill slingers out there that are fighting for playoff spots. And if those teams that those quarterbacks play for, whether it be the Bills, whether it be the Chiefs, whether it be the Buccaneers, whether it be Seattle, they are going to throw it everywhere because that is the basis of their offense. New England, I don't think throwing the ball is truly the basis of their offense. So I don't foresee that being something that is focused on going into these colder months, uh, toward the end of the season. But you look at a team like Tampa with Baker Mayfield, what's his, if he's, considering the injuries that he had last week, uh, if he's playing, he's probably going to be throwing it first down, second down, third down, fourth down, fifth down, sixth down, seventh down, eighth down. It doesn't matter. It's going to be coming out of his hand more so than running the football.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to even think that here we are about two-thirds away through the season that Drake May is leading the NFL in passing yards. So, yeah, I would put probably the chances at about 30 as well. David, do you have a fun, what are the chances?
Yeah, so I want to talk about the Houston Texans. They got off to an 0-3 start, but even when they were 0-3, they were never out of it as all those losses were one possession scores. The one thing that has been constant about Houston is that their defense has been dominant. It's been like top two, top three all season long. Now, if I'm correct, I believe the Texans are currently third in that division with the Jaguars and the Colts ahead of him, right? Or ahead of them.
Yeah.
Now the Colts got off to a blazing hot start, and it's not it's not that they've been collapsing, but they've definitely been kind of slowing down just in terms of they're not the super team that started the year, and certainly Daniel Jones is kind of regressing back to the Daniel Jones that we all know and love. He's still been having a phenomenal year just in terms of the expectations he had. So I don't want to take too much away from him, but the main point is it definitely seems like the Colts are kind of coming back down to earth, and certainly their defense has really not been good for the past 4 or 5 weeks or so. And so with that said, I'm going to direct this to you, Thad. What are the chances that the Texans overtake the Colts and win the AFC South?
That's a good question. I'm putting it at 55%, a little over half. Um, Obviously, we know the Texans' defense is really good. Davis Mills, or General Mills, or Giraffe Mills, as he's called, has kept has kept the Texans' offense afloat with C.J. Stroud out. Um, Maybe even looking a little bit better than when Stroud was in there before. Um, and this defense is mimicking the '85 Bears currently, so that always helps. And when you can stop Jonathan Taylor, you can stop this offense for the Colts. Daniel Jones has shown that he's a really good complementary quarterback with a good run game. He can build off that. But as soon as you rely on him to throw, like the run game isn't going, you're going to have some turnovers. And the Colts have shown that the last couple games. Daniel Jones has steadily increased his turnovers the past month. So it's looking a little shaky for the Colts. And the Texans, I, I, I have to look at their schedules again, but basically, it's not looking. It's in the Colts' hands for one. They are in control of winning that division, so they do have the big advantage there. Like first half of the season, really dominant. So it's really going to depend on how many games they're going to lose the second half of the season because the Texans they're sneaking up on them, kind of like how the Panthers were sneaking up on the Bucks this year as well.
Yeah, they're sneaking up on them for sure. Ed, do you have any? What are the chances that come to mind?
Sure. And mine is going to have to do with division leaders because right now we are seeing kind of a turnover of uh, division leaders in the AFC. So I'm going to direct this at you, Matthew. What are the chances that we have all four AFC division winners be different than what they were last year?
I'd say it's probably a pretty good chance. The reason why is because, well, actually, it's tough to say because as a Steelers fan, of course, I would love my Steelers to win this division. Right now, I'm not really seeing the momentum on their side, which would mean it would have to go to probably Baltimore. Baltimore would be a repeat division winner. But in the AFC East, the way that New England's looking right now, I see them taking over that division. Well, they're already in first, but the Bills not winning that division. The AFC West, however, it looks like the Broncos division right now, unless the Chiefs make a miraculous run this late in the year. The Broncos look to for sure to be taking that. And then the AFC South, as we've just been talking about with the Texans, the Colts, and the Jags, the Colts really took a lot of people by surprise so far this year. They did have a nice lead, but I know they haven't been playing up to par. But if they showed anything this trade deadline, they're all in. They went in for Sauce Gardner. They expect a first place division win, or it's a bust. So you give me the Colts winning that AFC South. I'll go with New England in the East, Broncos in the West, and the uh, Ravens are going to play spoiler head, and they're going to be the one repeat division winner.
One thing I want to look at, as far as like my thing, is the NFC wild card because specifically the NFC North because one of these teams is going to be out because you already got um, Eagles are probably winning that division. They lost to the Cowboys, but unless they monumentally collapse like they did a couple years ago, they're going to take the East. You got the NFC West with both the Seahawks and 49ers, and well, you got the Rams at the top. Seahawks are only a game and a half behind them, and then you have the 49ers probably getting the 6 or 7 seed. But then for the NFC and then NFC South, you have the Bucks who are despite the Panthers sneaking up on them, they're going to have a rough schedule. So I still expect the Bucks to win this division. But then you have the NFC North with the Bears currently leading the division to the surprise of many people. You also have the Lions who have suffered. They're bringing back Frank Ragnow at center. He unretired. I think yesterday or today. He's coming back, so maybe he'll give them a boost. And then you got the Packers, who have won, kind of weird games this year. So one or two of these NFC North teams are going to have to be out of the playoff picture, and I'm really curious what you guys think and who it's going to be.
Ed, I'll let you answer this one.
Okay. I think the division winner is going to be playing tomorrow, playing Thanksgiving Day between the Lions and the Packers. I still don't believe in Chicago to, even though there's been a culture change and all this stuff. Caleb Williams is still learning how to be an NFL quarterback versus what you see Jordan Love and, of course, uh, 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 Jared Goff. So I do expect the Packers and the Lions to overtake them because for one thing for sure, Green Bay still has another game against the Vikings. They have another game against Detroit. That's on Thanksgiving Day game, and then two more against the Bears. So those division games are going to matter, and I think that is going to be the tipping point of the Packers overtaking the division because Chicago, once again, they're kind of figuring it out and they're riding high on their momentum, but I don't know if they are ready for prime time just yet.
And I think David could agree on this point as well. The inexperience of the Bears and the Panthers of
Mm-hmm.
playing this late in the year when it matters is going to make
Yeah.
the difference. That's why I have confidence that the Bucks will also continue to win this division because they know to play in these games when it matters. The Panthers don't. They haven't in some time, and so have the Bears. Would you agree, David?
Yeah, well, that and also Baker Mayfield's MRI came back with good news, so it looks like he won't be out for the season. So, real quick, this isn't exactly what are the chances, but it's just a fun. It's just a fun question. So most of the season, the Texans led the NFL in scoring defense. Well, just recently the Rams overtook them, and now the Rams have the number one scoring defense in the NFL. In fact, the top three teams, and in terms of points given up, are or points per game given up, are the Rams, the Texans, and the Broncos. When all is said and done, which of those three teams do you think will lead the NFL in scoring defense?
Yeah, this is tough. This is a tough question. Great defenses, and I'll tell you what, there's a reason why all three of these teams could eventually actually make the playoffs this year, and it's also because of their
Yeah.
defense. I'm going to go with the Broncos. I have a lot of faith in the Broncos defense, and if Pat Surtain comes back and is playing healthy, that's going to be a big reason why.
I'm going to go with how I'm going to go Rams, just because San Francisco, you never know what you're going to get with them. I'm sorry, Thad. Uh, Seattle, I even this late and after 2 years, I still don't believe in Sam Darnold late in the season. I still think he gets flustered, and then you're talking about have have they played both of their games against Arizona? Because that offense, God, excuse me while I get my doggy bag.
The
So,
AFC
what about
South
you?
may take that prize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thaddeus, what are you thinking
For
between the
Like
Texans, the Broncos, and the Rams? Who makes it?
best
like
defense,
who best scoring
Best
defense?
scoring defense.
it's not going to be the Rams because they're going to be playing the Seahawks again. I think it'll be better next time. I think. Just NFC West is just so competitive. It might be the Broncos because I think they have to play the Raiders again.
Well,
Yeah,
Here's the thing: the AFC South is not that impressive on some of their
yeah.
offenses as well.
Well,
Trevor Lawrence, Cam
Trevor
Ward.
Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is the white man's version of Jameis Winston. That's what he is. So you never know what you're gonna get. The Jaguars are. I gave up on the Jaguars, like hating on the Jaguars. I can just laugh at them because you never know what you're gonna get. They are literally
Sunshine,
Pandora's box.
last
sunshine.
last I checked, Trevor Lawrence wasn't catching receiving touchdowns. All
Oh,
right,
true.
Jameis Winston is.
Yeah, Jameis Winston had a good day. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know.
So I agree with that on both counts. That the Rams are not going to lead the NFL in scoring defense, and the Broncos will end up leading the NFL in scoring defense. Like the Broncos, I think when all is said and done, will have the best defense overall, just in terms of total yards and points given up per game. And you look at the Rams. Yes, they are currently leading the league in scoring defense, but in terms of just like overall defense, they're not on the same level as the Texans or the Broncos. They certainly have a great defense, but if you look, they're like I think 10th or borderline top 10 in total defense, but they're first in scoring defense. So what does that tell you? It tells you that their defense is a bend but don't break. So they're giving up quite a few more yards than the other two teams. Like I said, bend but don't break. But yeah, I think when all is said and done, I think the Broncos will lead the league both in total defense and scoring defense.
Yep. Well,
So if I could, I've got another one for players. I, so which of these players are going to be traded away first? Is it going to be Cam Ward? Is it going to be JJ McCarthy? Or is it going to be Jackson Dart?
JJ McCarthy.
Why is that?
It's more so that I see JJ McCarthy getting traded before I see Cam Ward and Jackson Dart getting traded because, for one, Cam Ward wasn't the number one overall pick, and I don't see the Titans giving up on him that easily. And as far as Jackson Dart, I think Jackson Dart has shown immensely promising signs of being a guy who can lead a team. So it's more so that I see JJ McCarthy getting traded more so than I see the other scenarios happening.
I think for me, the Giants will trade away Malik Neighbors before they trade away Jackson Dart. And I'm going to go with Cam Ward. I think that the Titans will continue to suck, and they'll get another number one pick in a couple years, and they'll want that quarterback more.
Okay, that's interesting because I'm going to agree with David. I do think it is JJ McCarthy because I think you do bring up a good point, Matt. Like you wouldn't think the Titans would get rid of their number one overall pick quarterback, but they are the Titans. So I do think this is interesting because JJ McCarthy JJ McCarthy is on a short leash, and then the Titans are going to get a new head coach next year. And the thing with new head coaches is they they're pretty cautious on players they didn't personally draft. So it's going to be interesting to see if the new head coach, whoever they hire, is going to like Cam Ward in year two or not. JJ McCarthy, I think he'll get one more year in Minnesota, and then that'll be it. So I think the timelines for those two quarterbacks moving off are the same, but I would give the nod to McCarthy because he has been abysmal, and I mean abysmal. There's been the stats going around. I forget exactly which stat it is, but it basically compared all 300 something odd quarterbacks since the year 2000. JJ McCarthy is ranked 381st out of 382 quarterbacks. The only quarterback worse than him was Jamarcus Russell. So it's not looking great. Kevin O'Connell has been known as the quarterback whisperer. I don't know if, he might stick with McCarthy for one more year. That's what I'm guessing. But this is not looking like a great move. I know they drafted him, as a high quarterback. The Vikings did, but it's not looking like a great move moving off from Sam Darnold to McCarthy currently. So I think McCarthy's got a shorter leash than Ward does.
So my take on it is that I think Cam Ward gets shifted before JJ McCarthy. We can go ahead and take uh, Jackson Dart off of this conversation. Uh, and the reason why I say that is McCarthy's been injured basically since he has started last year. So he's only played 6 games. He's played less games than Cam Ward has as far as being the quarterback. When you're injured, you're not with the rest of the team. You are in rehab the entire time. You are not able to go through those drills. You're not able to go through those progressions that a rookie quarterback is supposed to go through. So at this point, McCarthy is on his just finished his 6th game as an NFL QB, and Cam Ward is on his 11th, and Cam Ward is 1-10. McCarthy has at least won 2 games, so there is progression to be had there. It's just about fixing his mechanics and learning to read a little faster with the NFL style of quarterbacking, not the college style of quarterbacking that he was doing last year. I think there's a lot of value in what Cam Ward does, and Tennessee has become the New York Jets of the South.
Yeah.
But
Also, regarding Thad's point, that yes, most certainly the Vikings probably do regret moving on from Sam Darnold, but let's also remember that hindsight is 2020, and that they're probably thinking, okay, Sam Darnold had a great year, but he has not had a great career. And also, we selected J.J. McCarthy with a 10th overall pick. Like, we'd be pretty effing stupid to move on from a top 10 pick. I mean, the only team I can think of that moved on from a top 10 pick, justifiably so, what Thad was when the 49ers moved on from Trey Lance.
yeah, that does happen.
Like, move on from an early pick that early is what I mean.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, this has been fun. As the season progresses, we are sure to have some more scenarios here that play out. But it is time to talk about the 3 games that are taking place today. First game on the slate is the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions, and how the tale of a season has played out what has changed. Where these teams met in week 1, it was not close. All right, the Green Bay Packers dominated that game. Now, the Detroit Lions are a 3-point favorite going into this game. So that's how much things have changed. For these 3 games we're going to preview, I'm going to ask 2 questions to one of our guys, and then we'll just give our takes here for the game. So, Ed, naturally, these 2 questions are going to go to you. Can Green Bay stop the explosive plays of the Detroit Lions in this game? I'll let you answer that first.
Don't you mean can Green Bay stop Jahmyr Gibbs? Because that dude is the Detroit offense at this point, this so far. And Detroit's just been kind of weird because some weeks they are just a world beater on offense, and some weeks they're like, what are we doing? Yeah, I mean, last week against the Giants, how are the Giants holding down that offense for 3.5 quarters? What in the world is happening? How is Jared Goff losing to Jameis Winston? Please, somebody tell me. So, in essence, it's Jahmyr Gibbs that got them out of that scenario. So it is going to be more of, can the Packers stop Jahmyr Gibbs? And one of the ways that you stop Jahmyr Gibbs is by getting a Jared Goff before he can get the ball out of his hand. And we have a guy that is very adept at doing that. His name is Micah, and we love Micah up in Green Bay. So, although here's an interesting scenario, Green Bay has had the 3rd fewest holding calls called uh, called on the offensive line facing our defense in the entire NFL. There have only been 6 holding calls called on an offensive line against our defense this entire season. I can show you 6 holding calls last week that that should have been called. So in that scenario, if it is played fairly, I think Green Bay does hold back the Detroit offense.
Okay. Second question I have, and we've talked about this on this show for a couple years now. We're going into the latter half of the season. What version of Jordan Love do we see in this game?
I think we see the version of Jordan Love that we know and have seen the past 2 years if the wide receivers can catch the ball. Drops have been a big problem for the Packers offense so far this season, and the saving grace was Tucker Kraft. Since he's out now, and yes, last week looked good, but mainly because of the defense, Jordan Love has not looked great since Tucker Kraft has been out. So it's a matter of, can the wide receivers of Green Bay make Jordan Love look like the world beater that he has been the past 2 years?
So, with all that being said, Ed, who do you got winning this game?
I have I, I've looked at this backwards and forwards and upside down, and the thing that I keep coming back to is this is the best Packers defense that we have seen them carry in almost a decade. And I think that is going to be enough to maintain a Detroit offense that is looking to be explosive, kind of keep everything in front of them, keep the score from becoming a pinball game. And LaFleur has been somewhat conservative so far in this last month. I think he opens the playbook and lets Jordan Love just flourish on another highlighted game for the Packers. So I'm taking Green Bay, but I don't think it's going to be any blowouts. I'm not trying to show favoritism here. I think this is going to be a game in which the Packers do get just maybe an 8-point spread, just far enough to where uh, Detroit's over aggressiveness and play calling on fourth down really comes back to bite them in the ass. So I'm going to have the Packers at 29-21.
All right. David, if there's any points you want to make, feel free to let us know. If not, feel free to give us your preview as well.
Yeah. So, as far as the Lions and the Packers go, you already established, Matthew, that the Packers dominated that first game, and it really wasn't as close as the final score or even the final stats would have suggested. So obviously, coming into this game, the Packers are coming in with revenge on their mind. Now, the one thing that really concerns me about the Packers, and Ed pretty much implied it when he talked about their tight end going down, is that the Packers' offense the last few weeks has been absolutely putrid. Like there's just no way around it. Defense has been great, but the offense has not been good at all. But as we also established, the Lions have been very inconsistent. One week they look like the best team of all time, and the other week, it's like, okay, what is going on with this team? Which I don't think anybody should be surprised by how inconsistent with how the Lions have been. And I think I may have talked about this on a previous episode sometime in the past. But I cannot think of any team that won 15 games in a season and then replicated that success the very next year. It's like, obviously, when you achieve regular season immortality, you can only go down. You can only go down from there. But it's like, it's not just going down in terms of you have a worse record. But usually when you have a year that good, everybody is hitting their prime. Anything that goes right for you, goes right. So the next year you don't have those lucky breaks anymore, which is I think part of the reason why we've seen the Lions be so inconsistent so far this season. As far as prediction goes, I'm I'm going to take the Lions. I think they're going to sweep the Packers. I agree with Ed. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, and I think Green Bay's defense will be good enough to keep the Lions from scoring not just 30, but hell, even scoring 20. So I'm taking the Lions over the Packers, 17-16.
I'll let Ed correct you because I know he wants to.
Oh, I'll just let him sound the way he wants to sound.
Green Bay won week 1, David.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. The Lions will take revenge.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, I think I
I
was.
know what I'm saying.
It's all good, David. Thaddeus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I was initially like looking at this game and I'm like, ooh, that's a coin flip game right there. But then I dug a little bit more, and I'm gonna lean toward the favorite here. The Lions are 2.5 favorites. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna go with David. Take on the revenge, and the reason why, obviously, I think bringing Frank Ragnow is a big move. Him coming out of retirement to play for them, because they probably were like begging him, to come back, because the Lions' offensive inconsistencies have been that interior O line. If Jared Goff doesn't have a clean pocket, he's going to struggle, and which is why he's not looked great against better pass rushes this season. So that's the first part. Offensive line is going to be improved. Second part is they're playing at home. Jared Goff is an incredible quarterback in the dome. Any dome or California weather, he's going to play great. So I'm going to take that over on the Lions side. On the Packers side, like David alluded to, they've just been just terrible on offense. I mean, not the worst in the league, but just bottom 15 offense. So it's really hard to trust that. Now, the Lions defense were banged up and they gave up a bunch of points to the Jameis Winston led Giants. But magical things happen with Jameis Winston. We know this. So maybe it was an anomaly. Who knows? Because they've been good outside of that. So give me the Lions in this one 17-10 in a low scoring game. I really do think the Lions will not be able to score as many points as they did, against the Giants. Packers defense is legit. They're really good. But it's just this offense has just been so inconsistent, and especially without Tucker Kraft, it's just not been great. So yeah, give me the Lions.
I'm gonna foreshadow probably all my games here. I'm thinking they're all going to be high, especially this one. Give me the Packers winning 35-32. I do think they pull off the sweep, and I think we're going to see a different offense from the Green Bay Packers this week. So, sorry, excuse me. Packers 35-32. Next
Finally, a
game.
smart man here.
Huh?
Finally, a smart man here.
Chiefs and Cowboys. Thaddeus, I'm going to direct these two questions to you in this game. First,
Indians and Cowboys, a tale as old as time.
exactly. The first question I have here is, Thaddeus, will this Cowboys defense make Mahomes look like this big star again on offense?
A little bit. Now this is an interesting one as well because the Chiefs barely escaped with a win against the Colts last week. That was like the one game where they were like teetering on the edge of making the playoffs or not. They barely squeaked out against that game, in that game against the Colts. Now it's kind of the same for the Cowboys. The Cowboys have won their past 2 games in a row ever since they acquired Quinn and Williams and Logan Wilson as their pickup moves. And this game is essential for them because if they lose this game, they're basically going to be out of the playoffs. They have a less than 4% chance of making the playoffs if they lose this game. If they win this game, the projected odds are go up to 38% making the playoffs. So this is a really important game for them. However, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm taking the favorites again. Give me the Chiefs in this one because Patrick Mahomes on holiday games, so Thanksgiving and Christmas, he's 5-1 in holiday games. Andy Reid on a short week and Andy Reid on a bye week are actually pretty crazy. So yeah, just give me the Chiefs. It's the Cowboys defense has improved. Quinnen Williams has helped them, and Kenny Clark, right, who they got, has helped their interior run defense dramatically because they were just giving up so many rushing yards early in the season. Now they've shored that up a little bit. It's helped the linebackers a little bit, which has in turn helped the defensive backs. So their defense has been improved just by acquiring those two players. However, it's not going to be enough to stop Patrick Mahomes. And this Chiefs defense, I think, can limit Dak Prescott. It's going to be a close-ish game, but give me the Chiefs in this one, 27-17.
My second question that you kind of already answered a little bit, Thaddeus, is, and this is a question that I think needs to be asked more, and I can't believe I'm asking this, but is this Cowboys team actually pretty good?
Yeah, I think they are. George Pickens is actually looking better than CeeDee Lamb. Now, there's a bunch of salty Steelers fans because, they traded George Pickens. And I'm just going to say it would not have worked in Arthur Smith's offense because he's giving, we said before the season that Arthur Smith would give jet fly sweeps to Jonnu Smith. And it was really funny because I turned on the Steelers Bears game last week and he literally gave a jet sweep to Jonnu Smith, and I was laughing for an hour straight. So it probably would not have worked out in Pittsburgh, but it's worked great in Dallas. Him, Dak, CeeDee Lamb's been dropping balls actually this year, which has not been great for him. So it's been Pickens who's actually been the main target, and he's been really great for him. The Cowboys realistically have to re-sign him now because of how good he's been looking. So the offense has been great. Javonte Williams has been really great for him as well. The offensive line, they got rookies on there, but they're just improving with experience in every game. And then the defense was pretty bad, like I said at the start of the season. But the acquisitions, getting rid of Micah, but then, you know, bringing in those two interior defensive rushers, it's actually looking better for the defense. They are, I think, top five in pressures this year as well. Not in sacks, but at least in pressures, I believe. So it's definitely they're not a bad team. They are like a good team, and they're surprising. Like Schottenheimer has been good for them, I think, and it's been they have a lot of pleasant surprises. So I think they're at least a mid team right now.
Ed, your prediction?
So I will start with this question, and it's a matter of which which team is going to have the better wide receiver day. Is it going to be the Chiefs with Rashee Rice and Jason Kelsey, or should I say which pass catching duo is going to have more touchdowns in this game? Is it Rashee Rice or Jason Kelsey?
Slight
Or
correction, Travis Kelsey.
I'm sorry, Travis Kelsey. Yeah, Jason's so funny. It's so uh, Travis Kelsey and Rashee Rice, or is it going to be Pickens and Lamb? Which one is going to have more touchdowns? I think it's actually going to be the Chiefs. I think it's going to be Kelsey and Rashee Rice that have more touchdowns because that is what they do. There's a lot of between the 20s, a lot of yardage with the with Lamb and Pickens, but overall, I think the Chiefs are going to be able to score because they've been here before. The this Cowboys team has improved over the season, which is what you want to see, and is a team improve over the season. But I know I have put my eggs in the basket of the Chiefs and what we expect out of them versus what they have been. But that's kind of where I'm leaning with this one. Patrick Mahomes and they know that they are playing for their playoff lives. If they are going to have any shot at making any kind of run at getting to a playoff spot, they have to start with this game here. The Cowboys, they think that they might have the same thing. I think this is going to be the most watched. I think this is going to be the most intriguing. And I think this is going to be the most closely contested game of the three. This is a game in which I think it does come down to a Harrison Butker field goal, just like it did last week. And it's going to be probably in the 34 to 33 range right there. And I'm taking the Chiefs in that scenario.
David?
So the Chiefs' road record is not great. I think it's 1-4 if I can recall correctly. So naturally, that would go in favor of the Cowboys. But that being said, um, after Kansas City was able to come back to beat the Colts, and I think we can all agree that the Colts are certainly a better team than the Cowboys. I have to go with the Chiefs here, and I think this is going to be a very high scoring, very entertaining game. Primarily because, at least for, I think the Chiefs will score a lot of points because sure, the Dallas defense has been improving, but I still don't trust that defense, especially when you look at the bigger picture. But I do acknowledge that they've been getting better. But I think this is going to be a high scoring game, and I also think it's going to end on a Harrison Butker field goal. And I think the final score is going to be 52-49 Kansas City. In regulation, not overtime.
Yeah. They say follow the numbers. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
I don't care what the numbers say. I'm going with the Cowboys. I can't believe I'm saying that. 28-27 with a Brandon Aubrey field goal when it's all said and done. Next game, Bengals and Ravens. David, the first natural question I have to ask in this game is are they rushing Joe Burrow back?
It definitely feels like it. Um, I know I said in an earlier episode that Joe Burrow coming back was huge, but that said more about who Joe Burrow is and what he means to that offense. But as far as the overall circumstances go, the Bengals are 3-8, I think, and the Ravens are now in first place. And we know how good the Ravens are, not the Ravens. We know how good the Bengals are, how good that offense is when Joe Burrow is back. So it definitely does kind of seem like the Bengals are hitting the panic button here. And you know, um, Joe Burrow may be coming back, but even so, I don't think it's going to be enough to help them beat the Ravens. It won't even be enough to help them compete with the Ravens because after the Ravens got off to a horrible start, mainly due to injuries, but got off to a horrible start nonetheless. Well, now they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and as I have established, they are now leading the NFC, or excuse me, the AFC North, and more than likely they will win that division, and they obviously will not want to relinquish that in any sort of way. And so Joe Burrow, I agree, he is being rushed back. So I think there is going to be a bit of rust there. And quite frankly, I don't think this game is going to be close. My predictions for our first two games were close nail biters, but I don't think this particular game is going to be close at all. I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens can just feel how close they are to winning that division, to making the playoffs again. So give me the Ravens over the Bengals, 49-22. Which, by the way, fun fact: if it is 49-22, that would be an NFL scoregami. So we've never had that score before.
David, one thing that I feel like we haven't seen really at all this year is a big Derrick Henry game. Does this seem like a big Derrick Henry game?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I wish I had an explanation. I wish I had a deep dive, some kind of deep analysis. But all I can say is, yes, it absolutely does feel like a big Derrick Henry game. I mean, you're going up against a really, really bad Bengals team, and like I said, you've got you're arguably the hottest team in the NFL right now. You're so close to winning that division after it seemed like an afterthought in the beginning of the season. So yeah.
Thaddeus?
Yeah, this is this. Yeah, I agree. They're rushing Joe Burrow back. Um, it's not good. And I remember he said he was like, "Oh, I'm not coming back. I'm gonna see where our playoff chances are at.
He
I'm
did
coming."
say that, something like that. Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, one more loss and they're out unless they run the table, which is not looking likely at all. So yeah, it's not very prudent of them. So yeah, just give me the Ravens in this one. I don't see how the Bengals, especially since the Bengals are missing T Higgins. T Higgins got injured versus the Patriots last week. So you just got Jamar, and I mean Jamar can do a lot, but he can't do everything. So yeah, give me the Ravens, kind of in a blowout. These games are entertaining, that's for sure. But give me the Ravens double digit win, 38-28. There's just not a lot to say.
Ed?
So this feels like uh, Cincinnati's coach is throwing a Hail Mary to try and get the fan base behind him by bringing Joe Burrow back. Joe Burrow is a football player. He loves playing football. He wants to play football. He feels like he needs to play football. That's why he's coming back. Not necessarily to bring this team back to the playoff contention or anything like that. It's because Joe Burrow wants to play football. Now, the problem with that is that, one, like you said, he doesn't have all of his weapons available to him. And two, the Bengals have the third best defense in the state of Ohio. The first being the Cleveland Browns, and the second being Ohio State. So that this defense is going to get shredded. Now, the one thing that brings me pause over the Ravens' offense is the fact that Lamar Jackson has not looked good the last couple of weeks. He's been a little erratic. So if he tries to shoulder this game himself instead of handing the ball off to Derrick Henry like he should, then it can get a little wonky. So that's where I give some pause in that scenario. And when you're talking about primetime games, has anybody else noticed that Lamar Jackson really likes to show out on primetime games and make it about himself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that that combined, I think, becomes a a recipe for disaster as far as being these being this blowout game that we were all expect that we're all talking about. This was a game that they put on this schedule for a reason because one, these games are entertaining, and two, they had actually anticipated this being a game for playoff positioning at this point of the season. Unfortunately, it's not for one of these teams, and I was on this show a month ago when the Ravens were probably 3-5, and I said the Ravens are going to win this division. Well, this is going to be another step in winning this division. I'm going to take the Ravens, but I'm going to take it in a closer game because I think there's going to be some witchcraft voodoo stuff happens where it stays a lot closer than what it should be on the scoreboard versus what it actually looks like on the field. So I'm going to take this game somewhere. I'm going to take it at 23 to 21.
You may call it you may call it voodoo. I call it Vegas. It's just an American word.
Well, something that I like the point that Ed brought up about Joe Burrow being a football guy, and certainly there are people, like, no matter what sport they play, it's like it could be a football guy or a basketball guy or a hockey guy where they're just in it purely for the love of the sport, and for some people they're absolute psychopaths about it. Like, I remember We've all seen the Last Dance documentary, right?
Yes.
Okay. You've not seen it, Thad?
I haven't.
No. Okay. Then I guess this is mainly going to be for for Thad. But basically, the documentary really painted a picture of just how competitive Michael Jordan was as a player. Even though we all knew that, whether we grew up watching him, certainly not me because I was born in the '90s. But you grew up watching him, or you watched old videos of him, and his competitiveness like was so I'll say out of control for lack of better terminology. But I remember there was an episode where during his rookie year, the Bulls head coach, I don't remember his name. I think his last name was Collins, so something Collins. Um, Michael Jordan demanded his head coach play him in a certain game, and the head coach was like, "No, I can't do that. Like, you don't understand. Like, I literally cannot play you, or I will get fired." And Michael Jordan was like, "I don't care. I don't give a crap. Put me in right now." And so I'm not saying that Joe Burrow is the kind of guy to be like, "Hey, Zach Taylor, better put me in, or else I'm going to have the general manager fire you." But the point is that Joe Burrow is definitely that guy who's just in it for the love of the sport. To go on a big tangent there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give it to him, and I hope he doesn't come back too soon and gets hurt because no one wants that in the game. So hopefully, it's a smart decision. But Joe Burrow's got that dog in him. But needless to say, I'm going with the Ravens this game. I do think this game is actually tied at halftime, but I'm going to go with the Ravens pulling away 41-27.
Cool.
Thaddeus, now that we got our picks in, how were our picks last week?
So we've been picking 2 games recently, so we got a lot more time to trim down the total amount, and now we can just either say we're split or we went undefeated or lost them all. So 3 out of the 4 of us split. I went undefeated again. What 2 games? Wow, amazing. So that puts David at 12-26. Ed in third place at 15-23. Matt has been at 500 the past month, it feels like, at 19-19, and I'm 25-13.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this week's going to be interesting because we all picked the Ravens. We were split on the Green Bay and Detroit. Whereas me, I'm the only one who picked the Cowboys. So this week may throw a wrench in things.
You know what? How about I think from now on, let's just have Thad, pick his games first, okay? And then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go with what Thad said.
Well, to Thaddeus's point, Matthew, being the Steelers fan, is pulling a Mike Tomlin on us. Stuck at
Yeah.
500, and this week he may go one game over.
Mm,
Well,
And then he'll go back the week after.
yeah.
since we're
It's the
talking
standard.
that, I'll give you a wild prediction. This will be the first year Mike Tomlin does not do 500 or better. Mark my words.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
From we're tied for first right now. That's all going to change the rest of the year. Mark my words. This will be the first year Mike Tomlin is below 500.
It'll stay. You might get it if they don't start Mason Rudolph.
No, Will Howard.
Oh, there you go.
I still say you're going to go 8-1.
We'll tie against the Browns. But we appreciate you guys tuning in on this Thanksgiving special. We all wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Please continue to hit that like, subscribe button. And if you have a fun fact for Thanksgiving football, please let us know in the comments. But until next time, guys, that's the final whistle. We'll catch you next week.